Today we're here with something a little different. This is Pax Historia, a AI-driven grand strategy game, if we can call it that. The way it works is essentially we give prompts to the AI and it generates events in the world based on what we say. We're starting here in 480, playing as the Soissons, the last remnants of Rome in Western Europe, outside of the actual Western Roman remnants in Dalmatia. How do we play? Well, let's set the scene a little, shall we? I like to give the AI around 2 to 3 prompts at a time. At this point in time, Syagrius, son of Aegidius, will be the ruler of our realm, so let's kind of set the scene with him. Now we've told the AI who our ruler is and where he rules, let's think about what we should do now. Well, first of all, we should raise an army of some kind. Let's say, right, we have our 2 prompts. I won't go overboard. Now we can think about moving forward in time. We can choose how far we want to move forward. I like to move forward by 1 month, so let's do that. Syagrius proclaims continuation of Roman authority in Gaul. In the fortified halls of Soissons, Syagrius, the last vestige of Roman governance in Gaul, decrees his intent to uphold imperial legacy amidst barbarian incursions. Drawing on fragmented loyalties and the ruins of former glory, he rallies the local landowners and Gallio-Romo elites, affirm Soissons as the enduring heart of Roman civilization in the West. This proclamation seeks to stem the tide of fragmentation, emphasizing a continuation of the old empire against the encroaching Franks and Visigothic realms. Formation of a Legio III Gallia begins in Soissons. Syagrius initiates the recruitment of the Third Legio Gallia, drawing upon grizzled veterans from dissolved legions and eager youths from the countryside around Amiens and Verdun. Forges in Nancy and workshops in the Ardennes come with activity, crafting iron short swords, pilia, and reinforced lorica segmentala from scavenged Roman stockpiles. Though manpower is scarce, the legion's core forms swiftly, symbolizing a bold attempt to revive military discipline in a land weary of chaos. Local farmers and merchants contribute grain and timber, bolstered by promises of protection against raids. We can see here our little Legio, a newly formed Roman legion under Syagrius, comprising veterans and recruits tasked with defending Soissons' borders. Ottokar's assassins striking against Julius Nepos. In the shadowed politics of Dalmatia, Ottokar's agents successfully assassinated Julian Nepos, the nominal Western Roman emperor, on June 22nd. The whispers of the plot circulated earlier in Mediterranean courts. This act shatters the fragile facade of Western imperial authority, emboldening barbarian kings. Eastern Roman envoys in Constantinople decry the deed, but their focus remains on internal reforms under Emperor Zeno. The news ripples to Gaul, where Syagrius views it as a grim omen for his precarious rule. As you can see, the Western Roman Empire has dissolved and been taken over by the Kingdom of Italia, Ottokar's kingdom. Frankish scouts probe the Soissons borders. Childeric I's Frankish warriors, emboldened by rumours of Roman disarray in the west, send scouting parties into the Ardennes and along the Rhine towards Alsace-Lorraine. These raids test the mettle of Soissons' garrisons, clashing lightly with local militias near Verdun. Syagrius' new legion drills intensify in response, but the Franks withdraw after minimal gains, gauging weakness for future campaigns. Gallio-Roman nobles murmur of uneasy alliances to bolster defences. The Third Legio Gallia completes initial mustering. By early February, Legio Gallia assembles roughly 1,200 men in the fields near Amiens, their ranks swelled by volunteers from Normandy and Centre Val di Lorraine. Syagrius personally inspects the cohort, invoking the discipline of Trajan's legions with parades and oath-swearings to the Roman eagle. Though under-equipped, the legion fortifies key passes in the Bourgogne, deterring minor Burgundian forays. Optimism flickers among Soissons' people, hailing this as the rebirth of martial pride. Right, so we have our legion, such as it is, but we are surrounded by enemies, and with the fall of Western Rome, we are now the only Romans left outside of the remnants in England and Wales, Britannia. So what should our next move be? This is where I start to struggle because I'm not very creative. I could ask the AI for some ideas, but, you know, that's kind of cheating. Instead, let's think. With the fall of Western Rome, let's make some limited claims to the title of Roman continuation. Syagrius established a revived Roman Senate in Soissons. In the heart of North Île-de-France, Syagrius convenes a revived Roman Senate within the ancient forums of Soissons, inviting wealthy landowners from Amiens and Nancy Galileo-Romano autocrats from central Val di Lore, and scholars from Ardennes to join. Amid the crumbling aqueducts and ancient halls, delegates pledge loyalty to restore civil governments amid barbarian threats. As the Senate's inaugural decree, Saragius assumes the title of dictator, justified by the dire perils facing the realm, granting him temporary absolute authority to command legions and enact edicts without delay. Nobles acclaim the mood as a bulwark against chaos, though whispers of future checks on powers circulate. This assembly marks a bold revival of republican form in a fractured Gaul. Local elites mobilize personal retinues across Soissons. Emboldened by Saragius' permission, Galio-Romano landowners and provincial elites in regions like Normandy and Burgundy begin raising personal armies of household guards, freemen, and tenant farmers armed with spears and shields from local forges. In Verdun, a prominent villa owner musters 200 spearmen to patrol borders within Dieppe. Coastal lords equip fishing vessels with archers against potential raids. These retinues total several hundred across the domain, integrated loosely with the Legio Galaecia, bolstering Soissons' defences without straining central resources. Saragius dispatches edicts ensuring loyalty oaths to the Senate, fostering a network of decentralized yet unified protection amongst the growing Frankish shadow. The new Senate in Soissons convenes heated discussions on fortifying key passes in Alsace-Lorraine and implementing temporary taxes on trade routes through the Ardennes to fund the Legio Galaecia. Scholars cite precedent from the Republic's crises, arguing unity under the dictator's vision. Landowners from South Ile-de-France propose alliances with Burgundian lords, but Saragius vetoes overtures, prioritizing internal consolidation. Session ends with decrees allocating grain for Amiens stores to feed growing retinues, easing local unrest and symbolizing the Senate's practical role in government. Frankish raiders clash with Soissons' retinues near Ardennes. Frankish scouts probing deeper into the Soissons territory encountered the newly formed elite retinues near the Ardennes forest, leading to a skirmish that claims a dozen lives on both sides. Soissons' spearmen, drilled hastily but fiercely loyal, repel the intruders back to Flanders, capturing Frankish banners as trophies. Childeric I, upon hearing of the reversal, halts further incursions temporarily, reassessing the strengthening defences. In Soissons, the victory boosts morale, and Saragius honours the retinue leaders in a senatorial address, crediting their arms with preserving Roman sovereignty. Envoys from the Burgundian kingdom arrive in Nancy, bearing gifts of furs and wine to discuss mutual defence against common Frankish threats. They congratulate Saragius on the Senate's formation and his dictatorial title, proposing a non-aggressive pact that could extend to shared patrols along the Sceaux River borders. Saragius, through senatorial advisors, entertains the overture cautiously, viewing it as a potential buffer without formal alliance. The talks highlight Soissons' rising prestige as Burgundian lords express admiration for the revival of Roman institutions amid Gaul's turmoil. I'm not sure I trust these Burgundian fellows. As March dawns, the Soissons Senate ratifies edicts expanding Saragius' dictatorial authority, including oversight of all retinues, priority levies for legion expansion. Assemblies in Amiens draw crowds of veterans and elites who toast the maneuver as essential for survival. Reports from border lords confirmed heightened vigilance, with personal armies now numbering over 500 across the realm. This consolidation strengthens Soissons' internal cohesion, positioning us as a reliant bastion in a Gaul rife with barbarian ambitions. Saragius engages Burgundian diplomats in Soissons, discussing terms for a non-aggression pact to secure shared borders along the Sceaux and Rho. He proposes hiring Burgundian cavalry as auxiliaries to complement the heavy infantry of the Legio Galaecia, offering grain from Amiens and access to Roman forges in Nancy in exchange. The envoys, led by Gundobad's representatives, expressed cautious interest but demand assurances against Frankish encirclement. After tense deliberation in the revived Senate's halls, a provincial agreement is drafted, pledging mutual defence against raiders while the cavalry hire remains under review. This diplomacy bolsters Soissons' eastern flank amid rising tensions. Under cover of night, Saragius dispatched his elite scouts from the Ardennes retinues across the northern borders into Flanders and the Ruhrland, tasked with observing Frankish mobilization. Disguised as traders, they report back on Childeric's warriors assembling near Lille, with increased forging of axes and spears signaling preparations for a spring offensive. Skirmishes are avoided, but one scout is captured near Gallia, yielding minor intelligence to the Franks in turn. In Soissons, Saragius briefs the Senate on the findings, ordering heightened patrols and accelerated recruitment to counter the threat. The reconnaissance underscores the Franks' growing ambitions, straining the fragile peace. Building on the initial talk, Saragosse secures a contract with the Burgundian lords for 300 horse warriors to serve as auxiliaries, arriving near Auvergne to drill with the Legio III Gallia near Nancy. In exchange, Soissons provides iron ingots and wheat shipments, easing the Burgundian supply strains. The Senate ratifies the pact, viewing it as a vital enhancement to mobilize against the Frankish foot-heavy forces. Gundobad praises the arrangement in envoys' reports, though he warns of Frankish spies in the region. His alliance fortifies Soissons' military posture without further full commitment. Childeric's forces clash with the Soissons scouts in the contested edges of Flanders, capturing two operatives who reveal details of Saragosse's defense preparations. The Franks, leveraging their numerical edge, pressed the intruders back towards the Ardennes, suffering light casualties but gaining valuable intelligence on the retinue's strengths. In response, Saragosse fortifies the border watches with elite retinues of Verdun, while the Senate debates escalated recruitment. This incident highlights mutual suspicions, with the Frankish envoys demanding explanations through neutral channels. Gaul's fragile balance teeters as both sides brace for confrontation. In light of the Frankish probes and Burgundian pacts, the Senate of Soissons enact moderate tax edicts on trade through the Seine Valley and Loire, funding further recruitment for Legio III Galicia and retinues. Landers from central Val di Loire grumble, but comply, contributing labour for fortifications in the Lorraine area. Saragosse, as dictator, oversees the distribution, ensuring supply reaches the Burgundian auxiliaries. Local happiness holds steady, buoyed by recent victories, though whispers of overreach circulate amongst southern delegates. The measures solidify Soissons' preparations for impending threats. Frankish warriors under Childeric I cross the northern border, their banners fluttering amidst the misty forest as they advance towards key passes. Soissons scouts embedded in the Ardennes relay urgent warnings to Saragosse in Soissons, detailing the invaders' numbers. Over 4,000 spearmen and horsemen amassed near Lille. The reports sparks immediate mobilization, with couriers riding south to rally levies from Amiens and Verdun. Local elites bound by Senate edicts muster their retinues, while signals are sent to the Burgundian auxiliaries in Nancy for support. Gaul teeters on the brink as the incursion threatens the fragile Roman revival. Saragosse mobilizes Soissons forces for defense. Saragosse, as dictator, orders the Legio Galicia to march from Amiens towards Ardennes. Supplemented by levies from the central Val di Loire and elite retinues from Verdun, messages reach the Burgundian auxiliary, urging their cavalry to join the defensive line along the forest ridge. The Senate convenes briefly to approve emergency grain rationing, drawing from Nancy's stores to sustain the troops. Gallo-Romo enthusiasm surges, with villagers along the route offering what positions they can, viewing the stand as a test of Roman resilience against the barbarian hordes. Soissons and Frankish forces clash in the dense Ardennes woodlands, where Saragosse deploys the Legio Galicia in disciplined formation amidst the trees, leveraging Roman tactics against the Frankish aggressive charges. Local levies and retinues hold the flanks, while Burgundian cavalry harries the invaders' rear. Childeric's warriors, fueled by tales of Roman weakness, push hard but falter against the coordinated volleys of pillar and shield walls. The battle rages from dawn to dusk, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Hundreds fall in the mud and overgrowth. By nightfall, the Franks withdraw to regroup near the border, their invasion blunted but not broken. Saragosse celebrates defensive victory in Soissons. Word of the Ardennes standoff reaches Soissons, where the Senate hails Saragosse's leadership in repelling the Franks, dubbing it as victory for Roman Gaul. Levies return bloodied but triumphant, sharing tales of Burgundian horsemen routing the Frankish flanks. The dictator addresses assembled crowds in northern Ile-de-France, promising reinforcements to secure the realm. Local happiness rises with the news, though scouts warn of Childeric's regrouping near Lille. The event cements Soissons' reputation as a bulwark against barbarism. Envoys from Burgundy arrive in Nancy, praising their auxiliaries' role in the Ardennes and renewing the non-aggressive pact with offers of extended cavalry loans. Gundobad's representatives, impressed by the disciplined stand, propose joint patrols along the Sceaux and to deter Frankish spillover. Saragosse accepts, integrating the gesture into Senate records as a step towards broader alliances. This bolsters Soissons' eastern security, with elites in Auvergne hosting the deepening ties with shared feasts. Childeric I, undeterred by the Ardennes setback, summons additional warriors from the Ruthland and Gallery, swelling his forces near 6,000 for a renewed push. Captain Soissons scouts yield details of Legion's weaknesses, prompting the Frankish shaman to rally troops with oaths to Woden. Border skirmishes flare along the Ardennes edge, testing weary Soissons patrols. In Soissons, the Senate debates fortifying Verdun, aware that Frankish resolve could yet overwhelm the realm's defences. Saragosse dispatches additional levies to the Ardennes front, fortifying passes with timber barricades and watchtowers, using local labour from the retinues. The Legio Gallia rotates fresh cohorts, integrating lessons from the recent battle to improve woodland tactics. Burgundian riders patrol the flanks, reporting Frankish mobilization preparations across the border. The Senate approves moderate tax hikes in Amiens trade to fund the effort, maintaining morale despite the strain. As May approaches, the Soissons brace for what may decide its fate. In assembly near Lille, Childeric I rallies his chieftain with fiery speeches, vowing to crush the Roman pretenders, Staggerus, and claim Gaul's heartland by summer's end. Warriors from Flanders and Holland pledge spears, embodied by tales of Ardennes valor. Soissons spies catch wind of the resolve, promptly urge Senate sessions on diplomacy or preemptive strike. The standoff casts a shadow over Gaul, with Burgundy watching closely for opportunity or threats. Dawn breaks on May, with Frankish hosts poised at the Ardennes fringes, their campfires dotting the horizon as Soissons' forces entrench deeper in the forest. Skirmishes claim lives but yield no decisive ground, buying time for reinforcements from Normandy. Sir Agrius, from a forward camp near Verdun, coordinates with Burgundian allies via swift riders, emphasizing unity against the barbarian tide. The realm's fate hangs in the balance, a testament to Rome's tenacity amid the encroaching darkness. Agrius repositions forces in the Ardennes. Agrius orders the Legio Gallia, which realized I've probably been pronouncing Galicia wrong. It's probably Gallica, right? Legio Gallica. And supporting retinues to withdraw from the dense Ardennes woodland to the open plains nearby, where Roman formation can maintain cohesion and Burgundian cavalry can maneuver freely. This maneuver unfolds under the cover of mist, with scouts reporting false signs of retreat to lure the Franks. Elite retinues from Verdun cover the pullback, avoiding major clashes while fortifying a strategic hill overlooking a broad meadow. In Soissons, the Senate receives updates praising the dictator's tactical acumen as a means to turn the Frankish aggression against them. This reposition sets stage for a decisive engagement, bolstering a morale among the Gallo-Romano ranks. Childeric I's warriors, mistaking the Soissons withdrawal for a rout, charge impetuously across the Ardennes into the open plains, their disorganized hordes belling war cries as they pursue what they believe is a fleeing enemy. Draggers from a vantage hill signals the trap. The Legio Gallica snaps into a defensive triplex formation, pallor raining down on the exposed Franks while shield walls hold firm. Burgundian auxiliaries wheel around to strike the flanks, sowing chaos among the overextended attackers. The battle erupts in a fierce melee, with the Roman discipline prevailing over the Frankish fury, though both sides bleed heavily under the spring sun. As dusk falls on the bloody plains, Childeric I orders a Frankish retreat, their lines shattered by the coordinated Roman volleys and Burgundian charges that claim over 1,500 lives. Various forces, though depleted by some 800 casualties, hold the field, capturing standards and prisoners that swell the Soissons' morale. The Legio Gallica stands unbroken, its reputation forged in the crucible of Gaul's survival. News spreads swiftly to the Senate in Soissons, where edicts hail the victory as a divine favour for Roman revival, prompting recruits from Normandy to flock to the colours. The Franks limp back to Flanders, their invasion thwarted for the moment. Draggers parades through North Ile-de-France at the head of the Legio Gallica, banners captured from the Franks aloft, amid cheering crowds from the Amiens to the scene. The Senate convenes a triumphant, bestowing laurels on the dictator and allocating spoils to repair the armories in Nancy. Burgundian auxiliaries receive commendations, strengthening the pact with Gundobad's envoys who witnessed the festivities. Tales of the plains ambush circulates in taverns, inspiring ballads that echo Roman resilience. Yet Scout warns of Frankish stirring, urging vigilance as the realm saved as the hard-won respite. Impressed by the Soissons' stand in the Ardennes, Burgundian envoys in Nancy elevated the auxiliary pact to a full defensive alliance against Frankish resurgence. Gundobad offers 500 more riders and shared intelligence on Rhine movements in exchange for trade. Stragius, consulting the Senate, accepts the terms, sealing the bond with oaths over mead in fortified halls. The Union fortifies Soissons' eastern borders, with joint patrols extending to the Sceaux. The agreement ripples through Gaul, deterring opportunistic raiders. Frankish chieftains challenge Childeric's leadership. Defeat of the Ardennes plains ignites dissent amongst the Frankish warriors in Flanders, whose chieftains from Rutland accuse Childeric of a rash pursuit and demand parleys to reassess the campaign. Assemblies near Lille erupt in heated debate, with some clans withholding levies until the vengeance is sworn. Childeric quells the unrest with gifts of captured Roman coinage, vowing a summer reconquest. Soissons spies relay the fractures, prompting Sir Agrius to reinforce Verdun's garrisons. The internal strife buys Gaul's Romans precious time amidst the barbarian realm's turmoil. Meanwhile, Theodoric's Ostrogoths seize and on Odoacar's distraction in the wake of Nepos' fall, poured the Alps into northern Italy, but clashing with local garrisons near Venetria. Eastern Roman envoys in Constantinople urged caution, but Theodoric proclaims his intent to claim Rome's honours. Skirmishes yield Gothic gains in Trentio, pressuring Odoacar's hold. In Gaul, Soissons diplomats note the incursion as a balm against unified Frankish hordes, though it stirs unease in Burgundy. The invasion hails fresh chaos in the peninsula. Syagrius dispatches Legio Gallica and elite retinues northward, exploiting reports of unrest in Childeric's camps to seize the Frankish province of Lille. Columns advance swiftly from Ardennes, meeting minimal resistance from scattered Frankish patrols, demoralised by recent defeats. Local villagers, weary of raids, offer cautious aid with provisions, while Burgundian auxiliaries screen the flanks. The occupation establishes a forward base, pressuring Childeric to respond or face further erosions of his authority amongst dissenting chiefs. Dissent boils over in Frankish assemblies near Flanders as chieftains from Rouland and Guilleri decry Childeric's failures. Embodied by the loss of Lille to Soissons' bold incursion, warriors withhold support, demanding a new warlord or tribute from safer raids. Childeric, in a tense council by the Scheldt, promises vengeance but faces whispers of disposition. Soissons' scouts in the occupied province report the fractures, allowing Syagrius to fortify positions without immediate counterattack. Gundobad's representatives reach Soissons, lauding the capture of Lille as a strike against shared foes, and offers 200 additional cavalrymen to garrison the new holdings. Discussions in the rival Senate emphasize joint patrols to prevent Frankish retaliations, with promises of rogue grain in exchange for Roman iron tools. Syagrius accepts, viewing the support as a key to hold the province amidst political unrest. The pact deepens ties with Burgundian riders already en route to Lille. Childeric, desperate to reclaim authority, musters 3,000 warriors from Flanders and Holland for a swift assault on Soissons' forces in Lille, hoping to rout the occupiers before the rebels fracture his realm further. The Franks charge across the border under the cover of fog, clashing with Legio Gallica in street skirmishes amidst the province's villages. Soissons holds firm, bolstered by Burgundian horsemen, inflicting heavy casualties and forcing a Frankish withdrawal by midday. The failed attacks deepens Childeric's woes, with captured standards paraded in Soissons. Syagrius' Senate debates further expansion into Frankish lands. Emboldened by Lille's defence, the Soissons Senate convenes to discuss probing deeper into Flanders or Guilleri, weighing risks against Frankish disarray. Syagrius advocates caution, prioritising consolidation with taxes on captured trade routes to fund repairs. Elites from Amiens push for glory, citing Roman precedent, but Burgundian envoys urge restraint to avoid overextension. The session ends with edicts reinforcing Lille's garrison, balancing ambition with prudence. Chieftains from the Rouland depose Childeric I in a midnight ambush near Lille's borders, slaying the king and his loyalists to install a council of warlords, blaming his leadership for Soissons' gains. The upheaval scatters the Frankish forces, with some clans suing for peace with the occupiers. Soissons' scouts confirm the chaos, prompting Syagrius to extend overtures for tribute from the new rulers. Gaul's northern realms tremble as power shifts dramatically. New Frankish lieges, reeling from the coup, dispatch envoys to Lille bearing furs and oaths of non-aggression, seeking to halt Soissons' advances in exchange for recognition. Advised by the Senate, entertains the proposition, demanding border adjustments and annual levies. Burgundian allies endorse the diplomacy, seeing it as a path to lasting peace. As July nears, the overtures signal a potential realignment of Gaul's fractured politics. With the death of Childeric, there is potential for peace between our peoples. Here is our offer. We acknowledge Childeric's death and seek peace to heal our wounds. State your offer plainly and we will consider it. We will maintain our control over the province of Lille. You will also hand over the provinces of Dunkirk and Calais. The Frankish realm will reorganize into a federati, so this was supposed to be serving as our vassals on our northern border. In return, we will begin establishing trade routes between our people and offer your warriors paid employment within our armies. We will of course protect you from any hostile attacks in the future. Your terms are harsh, Victor's demands, stripping our land and freedom. We reject your vassalage under Soissons' yoke. Dunkirk and Calais remain ours. Instead, we propose non-aggressive pact and equal trade, accept or face renewed war despite our wounds. Well, I think we're going to go for war. Syagrius orders the Legio Gallica and supporting retinues to advance northward from Lille into the heartland of Frankish territory, aiming to exploit the Confederacy's disarray following Childeric's overthrow. Columns march towards Dunkirk and Calais, offering local Frankish lords protection and retention of their noble statuses within the Soissons realm. Burgundian auxiliaries screen the flanks, as they always do, while Soissons envoys broadcast promises of integration and trade to disillusioned chieftain. The invasion unfolds amid summer mists, with initial probes meeting scattered resistance as divided Frankish bands hesitate to unite against the Roman tide. This bold maneuver seeks to fold the Franks into a peaceful fold, preserving Gaul's fragile harmony. Frankish lords divided in response to the Soissons overtures. Words of Sagitt's invasion spread throughout the Frankish assembly in Flanders and Wallonia, where some chieftains from Gallia and Rutland accept offers of protection, swearing oaths to Soissons in exchange for land rights and military service. Others, loyal to the confederacies of independence, rally near Luxembourg to resist, viewing the Roman advance as subjugation cloaked in benevolence. Skirmishes erupt along the Scheldt, with Soissons forces capturing minor strongholds without heavy losses. Burgundian raiders report dispatches to Saragius, who dispatches more envoys urging peaceful integration to avoid needless bloodshed. The divisions weakened the Franks' cohesion, tilting the balance towards Soissons' ambitions. The Ostrogoths advanced deeper into the Italian territories. Theodoric's Visigothic warriors pressed southward into Venetia, overrunning Lombardy after clashes with Ottokar's garrisons near Milan. Local Italian lords, weary of instability, offer nominal submission to the invaders, bolstering Gothic supply lines. Ottokar retreats towards Ravenna, fortifying the Po Valley against further incursions. Eastern envoys in Constantinople decry the conquest, but withhold direct aid, focusing on Balkan defence. In Gaul, Soissons diplomats note the Italian chaos as a diversion from Frankish woes, indirectly aiding the northern campaign. Soissons forces secure northern Frankish provinces. Legio Gallica occupies Holland and Port Gellery, where Frankish lords, swayed by promises of status and protection, surrender outposts without prolonged sieges. Fleet rescues from Verdun established garrisons, integrating local warriors as auxiliaries to maintain order. Darius' edicts from Soissons emphasizes Roman law's continuity, granting tax relief to cooperative nobles. Resistance flares briefly near Frankfurt, but Burgundian cavalry quells it swiftly. The peaceful expansion integrates swathes of Frankish land, fostering tentative loyalty amid the confederacy's unraveling. Senate in Soissons ratifies the Frankish integration edicts. The revived Roman Senate convenes in North Ile de France to endorse Saragius' policies for incorporating Frankish provinces, declaring local lords as federati under Roman oversight with rights to self-governance in customs. Debates highlight concerns over cultural clashes, but the dictator's victory silenced dissent. Allocating treasury funds for road repairs linking Lille to Holland, Burgundian envoys affirm support, toasting expansion as a shield against eastern threats. Local happiness rises with prospects of stability and trade. The Frankish Confederation fragments under the Soissons pressure. As Soissons forces advance into the North Rhinelands, remaining Confederacy chieftains in Rhinelands fracture into splinter groups, some fleeing to Rutland strongholds, while others negotiate surrender to preserve their domain. Skirmishes near Belgian Luxembourg claim few lives as envoys broker peace, echoing Saragius' offers. The council collapses, leaving the Franks without unified command, accelerating peaceful integration. Saragius halts further pushes, focusing on consolidation to secure the vast new territories won through diplomacy and arms. Saragius hosts assembly in newly held Holland and Flanders, where integrated Frankish nobles pledge fealty to the Roman eagle, their warriors joining mixed garrisons under the Legio Gallia's officers. The Senate dispatches administrators from Amiens to oversee trade revival along the Scheldt, promising shared prosperity. Local unrest ebbs as Roman edicts upheld Frankish customs, blending traditions in this peaceful expansion. Scouts report no major threat from the dissolved Confederacy remnants, marking a high point for the Soissons realm. In the grand halls of Soissons, Saragius convenes a special senate of the revived Roman Senate, where he declares the rebirth of Roman authority in Gaul, renaming the realm Imperium Gallia, and assumes the title of Imperator as the new Emperor of the West. Surrounded by integrated Frankish nobles and Gallo-Roman elites from Amiens and Nancy, he invokes the legacy of Augustus, citing recent victories over the Franks and the consolidation of northern provinces as divine mandate. The assembly erupts in acclaim, and delegations from Flanders and Holland pledge their swords to the imperial banners. This bold proclamation echoes throughout the realm, inspiring loyalty while drawing wary eyes from Burgundy and beyond. Envoys are dispatched to announce the restoration to distant courts, positioning the Imperium as heir to Rome's western mantle amid Gaul's turbulent revival. By the grace of the gods and the valour of our arms, I, Saragius, Emperor of the West, restore the internal city in these sacred lands. Frankish nobles join the Senate and marry into imperial line. Saragius strengthened ties with Frankish lords by inviting chieftains from Flanders and the Rutland to seats in the Roman Senate, granting them roles in the governance over integrated territories like Gallia and Holland. In a lavish ceremony in North Ile de France, the Imperator weds the daughter of the late Childeric I, symbolizing the unification of Frankish blood with the Roman law and forging a dynastic bond that quells lingering resentments. The marriage feast, attended by Burgundian allies, features oaths of fealty, and shared rituals, blending Germanic toasts with Roman libations. Frankish warriors, once foes, now swear to the imperial cause, blending their bravery with legionaries' discipline. This integration fosters stability in the north, though some Romano-Gallic purists murmur of diluted traditions. Revival of Legio 5, 6, 7, 8 Augusta begins in the Ruhrland. Dragus orders the reformation of the defunct Legio Augusta in the industrial heart of the Ruhrlands, recruiting a mix of Roman veterans from the Legio Gallica and unemployed Frankish warriors to create a hybrid force, embodying Roman discipline and Frankish ferocity. Forged in Frankfurt and Rhineland, crafting pillar and chainmail with local iron, while drill masters from Amiens train the 1,500-strong cohort in combined tactics near the Rhine, integrating nobles to oversee recruitment, drawing hundreds from Wallonia and Luxembourg, offering land grants to loyal enlistments. The legions must boost morale in the conquered territory, symbolizing unity under the new Imperium. Though supplies strain the treasury amid ongoing consolidation, scouts reports enthusiastic turnouts marking a step towards a more formidable imperial army. Theodoric's Ostrogothic host besieges Ravenna, encircling Ottokar's stronghold after overrunning the central Italian provinces like Umbria and the Marches. The Italian levies falter under the Gothic assault, with desertions plaguing Ottokar's ranks as local lords defect to the invaders, promising stability. Vandal grain shipments arrive sporadically, sustaining the besieged but highlight Italy's isolation. Eastern envoys in Constantinople debate intervention, but Zeno prioritized the Balkan threats. In Gaul, the Imperium Gallia's diplomats view the siege as a weakening of southern rivals. Gundobad's envoys convene with Sragus in Nancy, celebrating the publication of the Imperium Gallia and the Frankish integration as a stabilizing force against the Visigothic ambitions in the south. They pledged additional cavalry to the new Legio Augusta, viewing the marital alliance with Childeric's line as a bridge of full confederation. Discussions in the Senate emphasized shared patrols along the Sceaux, with Burgundian lords proposing intermarriages to deepen ties. Sragus reciprocates with Roman engineering aid for the Roe fortifications, easing tension over the borders. This affirmation bolsters the Imperium's eastern flank, bolstering a Gallio-Burgundian bloc amidst Gaul's realignment. The hybrid legion drills in the Ruhrlands fields where Roman centurions temper Frankish berserkers, Testudo formations, and pillium throws, forging a cohesive unit of 1,200 under imperial banners. Recruits from Frankfurt swear oaths blending Roman and Gallic Germanic rites. Inspired by Sragus' marriage and senatorial inclusions, Burgundian auxiliaries join the exercises near the Rhine, sharing cavalry tactics that enhance the legion's versatility. Local Frankish communities provide provisions, viewing the force as their safeguard against the eastern nomads. The maneuvers signal the Imperium's growing might, with scouts reporting readiness for border duties. Oh god. Ottokar surrenders to Theodoric after prolonged siege. Ottokar capitulates in Ravenna, negotiating terms with Theodoric that spare his life in exchange for abdication and exile to a Dalmatian villa, ending his kingdom as Ostrogoths claims Italian's heartland. Gothic warriors parade through the city, integrating Italian administrators to maintain order, while Vandal envoys withdraw their fleets southward. Eastern Roman chroniclers in Constantinople lament the fall, fearing Gothic dominance in the west. The conquest reshapes the peninsula, with Theodoric proclaiming himself King of Italy under nominal Byzantium suzerainty. Gaul's Imperium Gallia observes the shift, prompting Sragus to fortify the southern trade routes against potential overflow. Alright, I think we'll leave it here for today. This was more of just a test run to see how this game would play and how interesting it is to watch. So do let me know if you enjoyed this, if you wanted to see more. I'll put a link to this game. It can be played in your browser or on your phone if you want to, as well as this specific preset, which was made by a member of the community. So if you want to play it yourself, be sure to check it out. Overall, as I said, just let me hear your thoughts. Did you like this? Did you hate it? Is there something you would prefer I did with how I narrated it? Or is there something I should have shown but I didn't? Also, check the game out for yourself. It does use a currency system. There are free AIs that you can use without having to pay. And the way it works is you gain a certain amount of tokens every day, which essentially lets you do a certain amount of prompts. So you could essentially pay for free, but have to space out your plays between days, which honestly is kind of good because I find myself losing literally hours to just playing through this game with the various settings, modes, and worlds, writing out various deep stories and political setups and events. So maybe it's a good thing I can't play truly religiously. But either way, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.